we've got Jessica, she, her, the lady Jessica, straight from Arrakis. And she wants to talk about how atheism can be harmful to mental health. Jessica, you are on Talk Heathen with Phil and Johnny. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Phil and Johnny. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for calling. So tell us, you want to talk how atheism can be bad for mental health. Give us, share some thoughts on this. What do you mean by that?
Sure. So I guess I'm going to start with my own perspective. I grew up in Mormonism, and I was convinced at that time that I had magical powers and that I had supernatural connections to be able to speak to people. Like, literally, I believe there were people who knew everything about life, death, and the answer to everything in the universe. And it wasn't 42. And and now, having not learned some things that have unconvinced me of that, I am in a world where I don't have access to people who know literally everything, who could give me advice. And I don't have magical powers that could keep me safe from the scary things out there. And I feel that that has contributed to a higher level of anxiety that I feel pretty much all the time.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that atheism per se, that your lack of belief in magical existence is the cause of it? Or do you think that it could be something else, like you were set up to believe in hocus pocus and magical powers, and then you were disabused of that belief? You were convinced otherwise, and that the rug being pulled out from under you is the cause of your distress.
It's hard for me to know for sure. Hard to say for sure. It can kind of feel like which came first, chicken or the egg. I know that there's no right answer to that question, but it can kind of feel like, it makes sense to me that typically the people who have a God belief are lower income, more vulnerable, the people that need to feel secure in a world that doesn't feel secure. To me, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if the people who believe are lower income, insecure people. I think that many lower income, and again, no shame in that, and insecure people may have a God belief, but I don't think it goes the other way around. I think some of the wealthiest people in the world, and speaking of wealth, we got our own Phil Ferguson here, who might be able to speak as to the faith retaining of some of maybe the clients that he has worked with over the years.
Jessica, one of the thoughts that I had, and this may be a horrible comparison, so forgive me, I don't mean to insult, but it popped into my head, the movie series Matrix, where when they find out the truth, some people can't handle it. Some people say, put me back in the game, put me back into the system. And there is definitely, especially if you move or lose family, if you move to a different city, if you're, Southern Baptist or Methodist or whatever, there's almost always one of those congregations nearby where you can walk in and say, hey, I just moved across the country and I'm with you guys, and you're on Team Baptist and you have a lot of friends all of a sudden. And there's a lot of reasons why people do religion, and some of those reasons are pretty freaking good for our mental health. And so when you lose those things because you no longer believe in what they're selling, it can be a challenge. And I think part of the reason it's as much of a challenge as it is that they want to control the narrative. They want to control the story, so that when you slip out of that program, you are now the odd one. You are now the one who has been cast out by your own choice. And that can be a struggle. And of course, we do know about leaving religion. There's the the call-in line. Johnny, am I saying it right? What is the recovering from religion? That's what it is.
You are saying it right.
Yeah, I am now. There's an organization called Recovering from Religion that you could check into, where they will take phone calls and you can talk to them about, what your thoughts are, what your feelings are, and that might help. It's also a little extra hard during these times of COVID, especially for people, and I'm hoping you do, the people that take it seriously. I've actually had some really hard days, almost 2 years being locked up by my own choice, I guess, to try to avoid getting sick and getting others sick. And it's not because I don't believe in COVID. It's because I do believe that it's there. But I'm the one that's suffering maybe more than some others because I'm taking it seriously. And it's kind of the same thing maybe with religion and leaving it. All of the certainties are gone. There's a lot of people. You are not alone. There are a lot of people that walk away from religion or change from one religion to another and miss part of what they had. The problem is part of what they had came with a big old bucket of lies. And I hear you. I hear you. And I'd like to tell you that it's gonna get better. Try to find some people through Meetup or online or a local Facebook group that you can hang out with, and maybe that makes it feel a little bit better.
Yeah, Jessica, I would say that you were raised in a certain environment, and the social structure, your psychological structure. Again, I'm not a mental health expert. I think we have hosts of AEN programming, Atheist Experience Network programming, that would be better to speak on this. But I'm a human. I have a mental health here, and I can say that with these religious communities, religious upbringing, you have your life is oriented around that belief. And you were raised, it seems, that a God belief, an afterlife belief, a fixed morality with a bunch of precepts that you must follow was part of that mosaic of your life. And then when you lose your belief in the hocus and sometimes also the pocus, you're like, well, but what do I do about the end of my life? What do I do with goodness and badness? What do I do with community and these kind of things? And that can be a real shock to your system, and it can result. Yeah, go please.
Oh, I was going to say, for me, that necessarily wasn't exactly the stuff that's hardest for me where I am. The stuff that's hardest for me where I am is watching the United States drift toward a theocracy, with the Supreme Court being majority conservative, and the possibility of losing access to abortion, access to, I'm a queer person, I'm in a queer relationship, the possibility that at some point down the line the Supreme Court could reverse its ruling and I could lose my marriage. All of these things that, and looking around at the religious landscape around me and seeing, and I don't belong here. You guys don't want me here, and you've systematically through politics tried to eradicate people like me. And now I've got to go to work with you, and I've got to talk to you, and I've got to listen to you tell me that you think people like myself should just go away. And that to me is much, much, much harder.
Yeah. I can't imagine what that's like, but of course I have friends who are on that side of the alienation of the trends that this country is heading toward. And I care for those people, and I don't want that to happen for them, of course. But here's the thing. This country is very diverse, whether some would like it or not. It is. Ethnically, culturally, economically, gender and sexuality wise, it is. And great strides have been made since its founding toward bringing in out groups into the in group, or recognizing out groups. And I use quotation marks all over the place on that one. People of one group or another have banded together to demand what is rightfully theirs. And they have made progress, including folks in the LGBTQ community, and I would say to a great degree, that community. And although there are those who would take that away, and that would make you sad, don't despair. Be sad, be angry, be motivated, be very sad, but don't despair. Because I feel, and tell me how you feel, Phil, despair is a kind of sadness and a giving up. Despair
Yeah.
is a sitting down and looking at the ground and just giving up. Don't give up.
Yeah.
I don't ever give up. What is from Galaxy Quest? Never give up, never surrender. Keep on trying, and find others who think like you do. Folks in this community sure do. We don't want to see this turn into a theocracy. We don't want to see our friends be disenfranchised, and get motivated and get acting. But that wasn't atheism that did that to you. That was the opposite of atheism. It's not even religious people that did that to you. It's Christian nationalists who did that to you. Traditionalists.
Yeah, but Christian nationalism and Mormonism, at least in central Utah, there's not really a distinction there. It's pretty extreme, and it's getting extremer.
Well, do you belong to any communities that are active in combating that trend?
No, and honestly, it feels like they couldn't possibly be here. I look around and it's like the people who are vocal out here are people who legitimately make me nervous. That they're very brash and bold and scary, and it's kind of this thing where it's like I just don't even want to step into that ring because those people are scary.
Well, how about this? Maybe find an online community that you could belong to, that you feel that your identity is safe. And if not an online community that you belong to, maybe there's some way to donate, and I say this phrase, your time, your money, and your creativity to those who could use it elsewhere. Who, maybe you can retain anonymity and help those perhaps in the capital. Although I'd imagine Salt Lake City isn't necessarily the better. Salt Lake City is the capital of Utah, right?
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Salt Lake City is the capital city of Utah. The mayor of Utah of Salt Lake City was a lesbian woman for a while, but Salt Lake City and then Central Utah are as different as you can possibly like. Central Utah is a lot more like Central Georgia than it is anything close to like Salt Lake City is way more closer to like Portland, Oregon, or like Seattle, Washington, some bastion of queer and awesome people that's just out there, and I can't afford to live there.
Well, Phil, any final thoughts with Jessica here?
Well, I'm delighted that you called us. I'm delighted that you're sharing. If in the future you might be able to find another place to live, I don't know if that's an option. We don't have to go over that. One thing that you can do to find a place that is affordable, somewhere in the Midwest where there's a university, a medium-sized town, but it has a giant university in it, like Ann Arbor in Michigan, Champaign-Urbana in Illinois. These cities are filled with freaks. These cities are filled with everything you could ever want and more: languages, cultures, societies, different choices. And when you meet someone that's different, they see that as an opportunity to improve their lives by meeting you because you're different. And it's very opposite of what it probably is like in central Utah. And matter of fact, I used to live in Champaign-Urbana. You go about 10 or 15 miles outside of town, and like you said, it might as well be backwoods Georgia or Kentucky or Alabama. But maybe you can find a city that's really open to different experiences and different types of people that is not so expensive, and have a much more enjoyable experience there. That might help a whole lot, but it may not be the option.
Good point, Phil. If you can,
shocked. I have to throw this in. I've been the thing that I think stirred this up to me, made me a little more anxious, was yesterday going out with my wife and son and just in a day out excursion up north, and I saw two fights break out just within 50 yards of me, and just going on a day outing. I've lived here for 18 years. I've never seen any violence break out around me, and twice in an afternoon, and I was going, what is going on.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty scary here.
Jessica, don't just count the hits on this when it comes to the negativity.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to
Yeah.
encourage us all to just put on our little rose-tinted glasses and pretend that everything's okay. But it's easy, and I have a tendency myself to see the bad things in life, to focus on the negative things in life,
Yeah.
and to then just Lego piece them together until I have a big, mass of negativity. So I consciously try to find the things that are going in the right direction, at least according to me, and then sprinkle them throughout, because society is not inexorably going toward a theocracy. It's going in that direction, and then people will fight, and people are fighting now, and try to find a way to be a part of that force, right? In Zoroastrianism, and I'm encouraging every one of our viewers to become a Zoroastrian right now. Not really, but there is a cosmic battle between good and evil, and human beings can take a side. And I believe that the metaphysics, the dogma of Zoroastrianism, please correct me in the comments because I know you will, believe that a human being has the ability to weigh in on that cosmic battle. And so, ignoring all the magic shit there, you are not a chess piece. You are the chess player. Chess player? Well, you are not an NPC. You are an active agent in this world, and you can move the game along. And so join with others in your party and move this along and resist those who would drag us back to 3,000-year-old morality, and recognize that and count the good things in life as well, and try to make more of them happen. Whatever that means, whatever is makes sense to you economically, psychologically, socially, there's bound to be something you can do. But please don't despair, because I'm not going to. Easy for me to say, right? Jessica, thank you so much for calling in today. I hope that you will call us back and let us know what progress that you've made in that. And I do believe that you will make some progress and make this world a better place.